And welcome into Making Sense. If you remember our shows from last January, we were talking about the fact that the Affordable Care Act is now going to become actually law. And in a little bit of time, people are going to start to see some of the consequences economically of what's happening to maybe higher premiums, higher deductibles. So let's take a real good 6-month look at this. And I brought in Brandt McDonald, Barranco, Hagen Wealth Management.
Right.
And Brandt, you're probably seeing some of the effects that have hit some, especially your clients maybe, with the Affordable Care Act.
Well, we have. As a matter of fact, this has probably been one of the most disruptive legislative actions that has happened to this country, probably since the Medicare program was implemented back in the 60s and 70s. It's been incredible. It's created an incredible dislocation in the healthcare industry. And what I mean by that is that when you look at the way that the private pay system was set up and how it worked in conjunction with Medicare and Medicaid, for the most part, you still had quite a bit of free market type activities that could go on inside the sector. Now you've got this infusion of government oversight that's been put into the system and is causing premiums to skyrocket around the country. Essentially what's happening is you're taking those who are very healthy and those who have good demographics as part of their group health policies. Those are the ones that are now having to pay higher premiums to subsidize all of the others that are sick and that have had a prior history of health issues. So all in all, I think that you could really sort of, the best way to articulate this is that it's really a very large tax in a way that has been put on to small business owners around the country. Most of the ones I work with are seeing anything from 20 to 60% increase in their health care premiums. And these aren't individual policies. These are group health rates with people like Blue Cross and Blue Shield or United Healthcare around the country. So there's absolutely no question that this has been a major legislative oversight agenda that has impacted the healthcare industry in a profound negative way, in my opinion. Now, to be clear, let me just say, I think that most of the country definitely their heart goes out to people who don't have health insurance, right. And there's no sense in leaving people behind, so to speak, or people who are destitute and have no other way to gain access to quality health care. The problem that I think most people have with this, though, is that it was far overreaching, way more than was necessary. I think that you could have solved this problem quite easily by essentially taking that group of the country that had no coverage and folding them in under a special program and taking care of those folks in a much more efficient way. But instead what we've had is an entire government takeover of the entire healthcare system, right, which has turned the whole thing on its head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and of course what happens, of course, is the individual, if they have to share in that premium going up, that's less money they have to spend in other areas. But the other thing is co-pays. People have told me that a copay used to be $250 a year. It could be as much as $2,500 now.
Well, that's true, and what you're talking about is an entire recalibration, if you will, of healthcare policies, because most of these insurance companies have analyzed this and studied this, and they realize that the only way that they can remain profitable or provide the service to these group health plans is by increasing deductibles, increasing premiums, or decreasing some of the covered areas in the policy. So all in all, I think that what this has done is created a huge negative unintended consequence in the short run, especially. And I think that we haven't seen the last of this. I believe that over the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see a ton of amendments filed and sort of a recalibration, if you will, of the entire healthcare law, right, going forward, because this is just too big. You know, healthcare is roughly 16% of the entire U.S. economy. So when you take over that much of the economy in one fell swoop, particularly with an inefficient, bureaucratic federal system,
Right.
You're going to have major problems, particularly in the short run.
Yeah, because basically a lot of this turns into the administration, doesn't it? A lot of costs are really not medical costs, but they're administrative costs.
Well, they are.